to the elections. Honorable Eugene?
Yes, I just wanted to mention something that I think it was Cherera or Commissioner Masik mentioned, that when the security team came, at that point there were no results yet, because there had been an attempt to taint the name of a very distinguished professional career soldier, General Francis Ogola. I think my colleague Omar has referred to that. Thank God, due to the Tonje rules, he is now the CDF. I am happy that you have mentioned that when that team came, they did not come to threaten anyone or to change the results or to overturn. I think for the record it is important, because that was something that went towards tainting a distinguished career of a career soldier of our country. The second issue is the issue of whether you, the commissioners, tallied these results or not. I think listening to the four of you, you have said you did not. We were hoping Chebukati would be here, the chair, and he has denied the country the opportunity to hear both sides of the story in a very arrogant manner. We'll be dealing with that matter shortly. The tone of his letter, the arrogance, is something we will deal with. And I think I would say high-handedness with which you are talking about. And you're not the first commissioners he has differed with. He differed with Commissioner Akombe, differed with the other three commissioners in 2017, with the four of you, with Chiloba. It cannot be that the four commissioners, three commissioners, Commissioner Akombe, Chiloba are all wrong, and only one man called Chebukati is right. There must be something about his personality which goes to the root of the problem, because Article 138 is very clear, and the matter came up before the commission, before the Supreme Court. Looking at the ruling, particularly clause 48 of that ruling, the chairperson had submitted that the issue of verifying and tallying was his exclusive authority. The Supreme Court differed with him. In the paragraph 49, they were very categorical. And if I may read that, we find that the chairperson cannot arrogate to himself the power to verify and to tally the results of the presidential election to the exclusion of the other members of the commission, meaning yourselves. And indeed, Article 138.10, this is what he's been relying on, because he's saying as a returning officer, it was his prerogative. And they said, indeed, Article 138.10 of the Constitution, although the power to declare the results of a presidential election after verification and tallying is vested in the chairperson, he does so only as a delegate of the commission, one of you having sat, tallied, verified, and you announced. I do remember, and Irene Masit will remember, Isaac Hassan was also our classmate at the university. When he was faced with a similar situation in the previous election, the declaration of the results was delayed for almost 7 hours. When Isaac Hassan sat with his colleagues, they were able to build consensus. And when they came out as a united commission to make that declaration. Now, the concern of this team is that going into the future, having listened from you, you are sidelined, given peripheral roles, and your co-mandate was not, you're not given the opportunity to exercise it. In future, there's a danger of a rogue chairman. You are 7, this chairman had 2 only, minority supporting him. The majority of you, up to today, have not owned those results, which still cast the shadow on the legitimacy even if we say the Supreme Court's ruling was final, many Kenyans, half of this country, did not vote for this president. The majority of that commission did not agree with his results. That shadow can never go away. We are saying those servers be opened, and I'm happy to hear from Terera, you have the view that the servers be opened. Many Kenyans want the audit to be done and the truth to be known. We are very grateful. You have time to appear before us, and like your arrogant chair, who
but I don't think it is fair for you to have constantly. It is also not fair for him to have constantly gone on the vestiges of the character of a person, but of people who are here. But when you start casting aspersion on people who are not here, and to try and derogate their characters because you do not like what he did or what he decided, it's not fair.
And now you make your point.
No, the guilty are afraid. Maybe there's something is afraid.
Honorable
guilty of anything.
Honorable Omar and Honorable Eugene
must stop.
Honorable Omar, we've heard you, and maybe we'll just like we protected.
I was actually going to deal with the more serious matters rather than this emotional outburst.
In fact, Vice Chair, I was going to say just like Omar.
That's okay.
Omar.
Fair enough.
I was only saying just like we protected Honorable Eugene from a very lethal attack by a stakeholder, we must equally protect Honorable Chebukati, Commissioner Chebukati, from unwarranted attacks since he's not here to defend himself.
Fair enough, Co-Chair. Let me say this, if we can get back to the issues. It was so nice to listen to the two commissioners who are practically in exile, whatever the circumstances, because they fear for their lives. Some of the clarifications we'll probably get from your colleagues. But the important thing is you stick to your guns and you say those results were not proper on account, among other things, of the absence of Form 34C. We heard that from Commissioner Wanderi, that is what actually should have been announced. And even then, and I think actually, come to think of it, these commissioners have afforded us an opportunity as a committee to even do an audit, come to think of it. It's part of a serious auditing we are doing. So we really owe it to them. We'll do the Chebukati matter after this, and I think that should bring closure since he's not here for reasons best known to himself. But Form 34C, up to today, the Commission has never actually published if I understand it correctly, has never published in the official Kenya Gazette the results in accordance with the 290 constituencies plus one constituency in the diaspora. Is that correct, Commissioner Wanderi, or indeed the Vice Chair? And what we have is a tabulation from the counties in contravention of what the law says. That was my number one question. Honorable Eugene has elaborated very strongly on the other issues. When there was, for more than 7 hours, this we also had, there was a blackout at Bomas. And therefore, the 26 constituencies were then not announced. The understanding was that Professor Gulie was to announce the remaining 26, perhaps with the authority of the chair. What really happened at Bomas? We want to know, because we have heard that, according to others, that there should be a commission. In fact, that is public knowledge, because Chebukati has written an open letter, and he says there should be a commission of inquiry to establish what exactly happened at Bomas. What would you say really happened, which gave rise to the confusion? And then, of course, the Supreme Court in its ruling also said that, and I wanted your comment on the Secretariat itself, even as presently constituted. Would you recommend that this committee looks at the work the composition, the competencies, the heads of those other directorships or directorates? And by the way, were you guys present? I'm sorry, that's unparliamentary. The four of you, did you have any idea whatsoever on the printing? And did any of you go to inspect the printing by this Greek company, which had won? Wanderi, you are part of the procurement. Indeed, that was your responsibility. What would you advise the committee with regard to transparency when it comes to printing of election materials? Because we also have it on record that some commission materials were apprehended at the airport. So at that point, you're all acting together. Was it the negligence on the part of the commission as it then was? Yeah, because we have the legal position, which is very clear, the ruling by the Supreme Court. Nobody's contesting.